Hi everyone, happy solar eclipse today on the 2nd of October 2022, and in this video I will show you my Bitcoin solar eclipse trading strategy bit by bit, because there is a lot of going on here. So if I take you through the whole table, and you will kind of start hating astrology, hating financial astrology, and probably hating trading as well. It's a lot of things that need to be taken into consideration. But in this video, I just want to be very gentle on you, and I will share with you only some of the most basic reasoning that I do in expectation of the eclipse, to see what then strategy I will use. It's more than one strategy within this broad strategy. Okay, so the first line that I have here is the years of the eclipses. The second line I have the exact date. The third line here I have the sign and the degree of the sign that they happen, the zodiac sign, and then I have the type of solar eclipse. This is strictly a solar eclipse trading strategy, but as you know, the solar eclipses fall in three categories: total solar eclipse, partial solar eclipse, and annular solar eclipse. And today we have an annular solar eclipse, which is the most spectacular, the most beautiful solar eclipse, and also it falls in Libra as well. So just very broadly speaking, it's kind of focused on beauty and good manners and those sort of things, everything that is ruled by Libra, but also very sharp decision making as well, because Libra is a cardinal sign. Libras are not softies. It's very unfair if we represent them only from the Venusian perspective. Libras are also a cardinal sign, and they're very sharp decision makers, and they're very business people and politicians, as we know who is going to be the next president. So yes, it's always useful to see every zodiac sign in its 360 degrees shape, rather than just assume a couple of basic things that the beginners of astrology do. The next line that I have is price of the solar eclipse, starting from 001. That is the price of the initial price of Bitcoin, 0.01, which is very useful to know when we start making calculations about the price. This starting price is very useful to know. That starting price is essential in my price calculator, which I have shown in another video. The next line I have now, the most important thing, the most basic thing that we need to know about the eclipse is it likely to change the trend or not? So for that reason, I have backtested all previous eclipses. So far there have been 32 previous eclipses in Bitcoin's life, and what has panned out is, out of those 32 previous eclipses, only 7 eclipses have managed to change a bear trend to a bull trend. So that is why I have the tick, and it's in green shade. That means from bear to bull they have managed to change the trend. And only once that was in April, the eclipse managed to change the trend from a bull trend to a bear trend. Now let me just clarify, I'm talking about local trends. So for example, there were only 3 green candles before this eclipse on the 8th of April, right? There was a bull reversal only 3-4 days before that, but I count that as a bull trend because we're trying here to trade the eclipses. We don't want to be making general statements like a lot of bullshitters out there. Be ready for a change. The eclipses always bring change. And for 20 years, they keep repeating the same statements without actually rolling up their sleeves and doing some back testing and finding out, hold on, are these eclipses tradable or not? I want to know, are they actually tradable or not? And regardless, actually, we find out that they're not tradable, that is still a very useful finding. So once and for all, we stop saying, oh, are the eclipses gonna bring change? Are they gonna change the trend? And all of those things. And then people start guessing, and millions of discussions that are wasting so much time. We need to know once and for all, are these eclipses tradable or not? Which are tradable, which are not tradable, in what conditions need to be fulfilled to be tradable, to be trusted to put a trade. And for us to do that, we actually have to sit down and narrow down the dates. It's not these general kind of statements, the eclipse will make a change, is really not good enough, because we need to know if it's going to be making a change, on what day that change is going to be, so that we know when to enter the relevant position. So for that reason, I work only with local trends. I'm not interested in big trends, because they're so difficult to measure. From what date to what date? And with the local trends, it's very easy to measure them. 3 days before, for example, to me that is a good evidence that a trend has taken place, has begun. A local trend has begun. Even 2 days, a local trend has begun. 1 day change of trend depends on the size of the candle. It's not really that much convincing, but from 2 consecutive candles of the same color moving in the same direction is already a change of local trend. For trading purposes, we only use this terminology so that we can be very precise in our entries. So out of 32 eclipses so far in Bitcoin's life, only 8 have managed to change the trend. And that is 75%. 8 out of 32 is 75%. Oh my goodness, it's 25%, I beg your pardon. Only 25% of solar eclipses, and I'm talking about the exact date of the solar eclipse, because this is a practical trading strategy. This is not broad theory where we go on astrological forums and we just spend the whole day discussing nonsense and vague statements. That's what I mean by nonsense. We are working here with precise dates. That's why for me the solar eclipse is the date of the solar eclipse. Nothing more, nothing less. And the 75% that remain, actually, the eclipses do not change the trend. So what can we conclude from this? We can conclude from this is that the eclipses don't work on the Bitcoin life the way they work in our human lives. I'm backtesting the eclipses in my own life. And sorry, 1 second, I need to plug this in the power. And in my own life, the eclipses are very powerful. And in terms of bringing changes. But as you can see, the backtesting doesn't show the same. This is stable times in a very thorough way that it's taken me 1 day to do all the checks. So I can assure you that when I'm making those statements, they're not just for some clumsy kind of very quick backtesting that is done in a couple of hours. I have spent a long time doing this table and rechecking it and rechecking it. So 75% of the time in the history of Bitcoin, the eclipses have not changed the local trend. Let's just get that sink in and stop repeating like parrots when we go on the social media how powerful the eclipses are and how much they're changing. Not Bitcoin, they're not changing Bitcoin. Because we work here with probabilities. Who knows? Maybe tomorrow it will change the trend. It's already looking like today it wants to change the trend, because at the moment it's shaping as a green candle today, right? The second of although the wick here is too big, so it's indicating a more movement down. This big wick on top, but it's still kind of making an attempt to change the trend. And it may do for a few days, because we have some trines that are leading all the way to the 8th of October. We have that massive trine there that is going to culminate on the 8th of October. Let me see where I put the chart here. Yeah, see, Venus is on 11 degrees Scorpio right now, and it's heading towards completing this trine between Saturn, Mars, and herself. And that will be culminating on the 8th of October. So I will not be surprised if from now, the 2nd of October, by 8th of October, the movement starts going upwards. But that still doesn't mean a change of trend, because on the 9th, once that trine is done and dusted, there is nothing more after that. Actually need to change the declination. There may be some surprise there from the moon, because the moon should be turning on a northerly declination around that time as well, so I need to check that. But all the other declinations of the other planets are heading south. When the declinations are heading south, the markets are heading south, and I have discussed that October is the month of the seller because of that combination here between wood. I'm looking at Bitcoin's chart, by the way, but what we have in October is wood, and underneath we have earth, and that means selling, because wood exploits earth, and that is traditionally known as somebody making profits, exploiting and making profits, not investing. So far, everything is probabilities, and so far there are more confluences on the downside, but this may change. I'm very alert on Twitter. I'm constantly monitoring and sharing with my followers if I see any possible signs of invalidation of my bearish intentions for October. And the minute I see even the slightest signs of invalidation of my bearish idea for October, I immediately report it. I'm very quick to act straight away, because anyone's idea can be invalidated. That's perfectly fine. What is not fine is to be blind to the invalidations and to carry on kind of hypnotized by our own idea and carrying on with the same plan despite being faced with signals of invalidation. So for now, as it is on the 2nd of October, we stand that we are on a downtrend. We have had 3 red candles so far, so we're definitely on a down local trend. And even in the most bullish scenario, I expect that Bitcoin will head up from today to the 8th of October at the very latest. But I don't expect that practically, only theoretically, because practically they will be the endings of cycles. They're a very big cycle that I work with the Chinese elements. That should be ending on the 4th or 5th of October, and again that should be heading down. So even if the general trend between now and October is an upward trend, I still expect some red candles there. So that is the most bullish scenario, right? Not after the 8th of October. After the 8th of October, we're heading down. For now, again, I need, with every single day, it's like signs on the road. When we're driving, we constantly have to watch every single sign on the road. We cannot assume that all the signs are all right. There may be some repair works there on the road that have been placed recently or the same day when we're driving. So for now, that is I have a bearish bias for October. That hasn't been invalidated. The minute that is invalidated, I can switch bias very quickly. So going back here, I needed to do this explanation because people need to understand, I'm sure you do, but just to be explicit about it, that when we talk to a trading strategy, handling money, we need to be very serious and very technical and very careful what conclusions we are making and how we're making those conclusions. And we work with exact dates here. We need to know the exact date of the entry and the exit. So for now, that's all I wanted to cover with you. is that the first assessment we make is it likely to be a change of trend? And this 75% here, historical probability that the eclipse had never brought a change of trend, that the eclipse sees, the solar eclipse sees on the Bitcoin market act as populists. They kind of want to support where the general, where the local trend is going, and they amplified. I saw it on several occasions when the eclipses actually amplified the local trend and made it stronger and more visible, but very rarely, only on those 25%, they changed it. So as it stands for now, using this 75% probability, we just make the conclusion that it is unlikely that the trend will be changed. And with that caveat, when I said that it's very possible now that when the planet starts heading towards that trine on the 8th of October, it's very possible to see an upward movement now. So that was my statement using one confluence, but in trading we need to have several confluences converging on the same idea, and only then we can be more confident. We can never be 100% confident, and we can never find confirmation. I hate when people use the word confirmation. There is no such thing. Even with the 100% probability, you can get the opposite outcome on the market. So even with 100% historical probability, it has happened to me before when Mars conjuncts the Sun. When Mars is combust, that is an extremely bullish event, and I could put my money there that that would have been a green candle that day, and it turned out to be a tiny red candle, which infuriated the hell out of me, because that had 100% probability there, 100% historical probability that it is an extremely bullish event, and it has a green closure, and on that particular day it didn't close on green. So I learned from then that we have to be seeking confluences, several confluences to converge, and that is the only light we have. Two lights we have: the historical backtesting to see what has happened, obtaining the percentages there, obtaining a clarity about a probability where we stand. And the second thing is confluences. So let's look at a confluence now to this statement when I said that for now my bias is continuing with the bearish trend. So 1 second here. Let me just find that Excel spreadsheet. Okay. So, confluences. Okay. So what I have done, in order again to understand how the eclipses are working on the Bitcoin market, I have sat down and I've backtested every single daily time frame in the year. This is 15 years of Bitcoin's life here. But I have ordered the dates starting from the solar eclipse. So this is the solar eclipse here on the top, one after the other. And then I have counted the closing candles, and I have obtained the percentages in this first set of columns here. Right, so I count all the candles horizontally and then obtain the percentages between them. So for example, for the 2nd of October, it's 56% probability that it will close on a red. For the 3rd of October, it's 78% probability that it will close on a green. And so on until all the end, until the next solar eclipse, basically, until 28th of March 2025. When those dates expire, I paste the new set of dates for the new solar eclipse. But the way I have organized this backtesting is starting with the solar eclipse there on the top, and then continuing for as long as that cycle lasts. And they're all different lengths of cycles. Some solar eclipses are met with another solar eclipse some sooner, on day number 147 after the first solar eclipse, the next solar eclipse begins, right? So after that short solar eclipse, the next solar eclipse begins. Another solar eclipse cycles tend to be longer. So I have sat down, I have back tested all of the daily time frames because again that gives me an edge. I really like to keep abreast of what is. I'm obsessed with planning and I'm obsessed with clarity. I really want to have a very clear picture what to expect from a day. It doesn't pan out 100% of the time. So far I have been back testing the back testing results. What I mean by this is once I obtain those percentages, I copy and paste them on my monthly forecast to keep an eye there for every single day. And they have it performing between 60% to 86%. In some months it was 86% accuracy. So 60% is still quite low. It's not really tradable for a retailer. But nevertheless, they do give an edge and they do give clarity about the trend as well. So the daily time frames are not that important, but what is important here is, look, I have highlighted now what are the strong dates where the percentages coincide for several consecutive days that they will close on the same color. So what is turning out here from that back testing is emerging is that the first month of the solar eclipse is actually a quite bullish month. I mean, look at that, all the way until the 19th of October, we have several conglomerations here of bullish dates. And then we have other months that are exactly the opposite. So for example, look, February, we have several conglomerations here of bearish dates. And in the previous solar eclipse cycle, that happened in the first week of July. That coincided with the first week of July. So they're very good at forecasting the trend to come, not only the individual daily time frames. So now that we see here that we're not fully supported in our statement for the bearish bias of October, we can see now that we have a very strong probability here that the trend will change tomorrow from the 3rd of October. There is a 78% probability that it will keep going up, but then the probability is reducing. Then it on the 4th of October becomes 63% and then 59%. It starts reducing. So we need to be careful now for the next few days to be monitoring here for signs of invalidation of these backtesting results, because any single day that closes on a red out of these will be a very nice supportive confluence to our bias for a bearish October and for a further downtrend. And vice versa, on days like this, when the probability is higher on the red side, like the 11th of October, for example, day number 9 after the solar eclipse is known historically to me, not to anyone else, to my knowledge, but to me and now to you too, to be the first actually bearish day, kind of outstanding in Bitcoin's history in terms of eclipse cycles. And the less outstanding one is the 7th day after the solar eclipse, which would be 9th of October. Because the 8th of October is the top there shaped by the trine. That trine between those three planets is quite a serious thing, a grand trine. And it is very possible now. We're getting here another confirmation. No, I beg your pardon. Why am I using that word when I actually never use it? We're getting here another confluence that are mini bias. So my big bias for October is that we're heading down, but I have a mini bias here for this next week, for the coming week, is that it will head up. So this is a nice confluence here for that mini bias, for the green mini bias, because we see that the first week here has a lot of green dates. And then the 9th of October, again, that is the day after the trine, we have here 53% probability of closing on red. So I know you would say 53 is a very small probability, that is almost as equal as 50% probability. But actually, these percentages are very small because a large amount of data has been backtested. Look at that. So the larger number of data we have in a test sample, the lower these percentages are. They flatten the curve, as you know, those of you who do statistics. So I do take it seriously, regardless the fact that it's only 53%. I'm still bearish for the 9th of October, and I still expect a red candle. Because of this other confluence as well, that after the trine, there is nothing else after that. The trine on the 8th, and that's it, flat. So that normally shows a top and then a bear reversal. Same as a very hard aspect. When it happens, that normally means a bottom, and then the next day cannot be as hard as that. Doesn't matter how bad the next day will be, it just cannot be as hard as that. So then that will be a bull reversal. So again, here this is like on the 8th we're going to have like a climax, after orgasm. Can you carry on having sex more and more and more? You can't. It just cannot be as good after that. Even if it's really good, it still cannot be as good. So for that reason, after the trine, after the top, we always assume that the next day will be red, even if there is nothing wrong there in that day. So 2 confluences for me are enough because of that the 9th will be a bear reversal, a local bear reversal. My original date for the bear reversal was around the 4th, based on other confluences. Sorry, here, the 4th of October. Based on other confluences. 4th or 5th of October was my original date that I posted on Twitter. I had shortlisted the 28th, but it didn't have enough confluences, so I said it will happen, the final bear reversal will happen on the 4th, around 4th and 5th of October. So we wait and see, but if it doesn't happen, I will not be surprised, because we have these. So my next date is then the 9th of October. If the bear reversal doesn't materialize on the 4th or 5th, my next date is the 9th of October for the bear reversal. So where was I? So that is my reasoning. We check confluences. These are serious confluences to me, right? But I also have some quirky confluences, and I'll show you 2 of my quirky confluences. So what we're going to have in October is a comet circulating in the sky, and comets, I haven't actually sat down to backtest them with properly, but I started monitoring them and kind of quickly comparing the days when we have a comet, and then with the price action on the Bitcoin market, and comets are bearish for Bitcoin. And I have been monitoring that since 2021, so for the past 3 years. One day I will sit down and backtest them properly, but yeah, it's not my first priority. So this is actually a nice quirky confluence for a down movement. And then I have another quirky confluence, actually that is not so quirky. Another confluence for a down movement is that Bitcoin is going to a Chandrashtama. I love Vedic astrology very much, but because I work with tropical degrees, I prefer the tropical degrees, which doesn't stop me to use some of the discoveries of Vedic astrology. One of my favorite discoveries, Chandrashtama. This works like clockwork. I really recommend you do it for yourselves. and you will see, this is the website here, where you can just type your date of birth and time of birth, and within a minute you're getting your chandrashtamas for the whole year. They work like clockwork. It doesn't matter what you do on the day of the chandrashtama, things are not working out. They're not good days. Chandrashtama means Chandra is moon, and Ashtama, the second half of the word, means something like 8. I think that means 8 in Hindu language. So basically it means the moon is in the 8th house from your natal moon. It bleeds. It's a horrible time. It's a kind of the roots of the lotus in the mud, cold. You're always left cold in those days and on your own devices without any help and support, and they're very difficult days. We feel very alone in the world, and the dark what they call it, the dark time of the soul or something like that. So Bitcoin Chandrashtama begins on the 3rd of October, and so that is my confluence, guys and ladies. That's one of the reasons why I thought that Bitcoin will make the bear reversal sooner than that trine on the 8th. And I have another confluence for that, which I don't want to reveal right now. I need to keep some of the edge for myself. You know, I can't give away 100% of my edge. So for that reason, I said on Twitter that I expect the bear reversal to be around the 4th, between the 3rd and the 4th, or between the 3rd and the 5th is my expectation for the bear reversal. For the ultimate bear reversal, I mean, we already know that we've done a bear reversal on the 28th. That date was shortlisted by me as well. I posted it on Twitter, but it didn't have enough confluences. It had only 2 confluences for that, so that's why I didn't take it that seriously. So how far did we get now? By the way, I have posted all of those dates on Twitter, so you can have it. You can have those dates for October, all the backtesting results, so you can monitor them for yourselves, you know, to get a nice edge for yourselves. The second half, this second column here is remaining from the previous eclipse, which was total solar eclipse. So the second column, I just backtested the particular eclipse that is taking place. Last time it was a total solar eclipse in April, and this time is an annular. So what I'm gonna do, I haven't done it yet, but I'll backtest only the annular solar eclipses, and I'll obtain separate percentages only for the annular solar eclipses. So in that way, again, it will give me kind of an extra edge to understand how the annular solar eclipses are performing on Bitcoin Live. So this is it for today. I think the video is already too long, but I wanted to kind of gently introduce you into the trading strategy, into the Eclipses trading strategy, because some more good quality stuff is coming up soon. In the next video, we will discuss how the point of control relates to the eclipse price. We will know the eclipse price when it closes tonight, and that is why I cannot cover it now anyway. So that is one very important relationships, because what did we conclude here when we said, does the eclipse change the trend? 25% only of the time it changes the trend, 75% of the time doesn't change the trend, which means that the eclipse is a populist and it wants to maintain the same trend. It wants to please the majority of the people. That we can conclude safely based on these backtesting results. So if the eclipse is populist and likes to please the trend and maintain the trend and amplifying the current trend, then there should be a relationship between the price on the eclipse and the point of control. And in the next video, we will find out what that relationship is, and that is a tradable relationship with very clearly backtesting results here and with significant percentages. Okay, very nice to connect back with you, and catch me on Twitter. I'm very active on Twitter these days. See you soon.